Welcome to the Just Jake podcast. I'm Jake Gutierrez, and I have a very special guest with me here today, Adi Shamir, and she is an integrative nutrition health coach. She's a digestive specialist, Pilates instructor, founder of Fit Food Feel Good, author of Trim and Thrive. That's an interactive Mediterranean approach to weight loss and balanced blood sugar. And she has a Bachelor of Science for Industrial Engineering, and just an all-around awesome person. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Adi, I just wanted to get into kind of your background and then how you came to find yourself in the field of health and wellness.
So I used to be, a healthy kid, healthy life, until I want to say my genes kicked in. And I was, my digestion was not the best, especially when you're a student, you're not eating well. And then little by little, my health deteriorated. And then genetically, my thyroid was always not okay since I was 20. But I managed to, use some supplements and things until a certain point where I really had really severe symptoms of Hashimoto hypothyroid. And it's a kind of autoimmune. And I was lost. So I went to a regular doctor, primary care, which sent me to a specialist. And basically, they could not really help me feel better or improve my, my health. They just put me on some hormones, and my labs were back okay, but I was really not feeling good. And I didn't see any improvement of my quality of life. I was still tired, fatigued, losing hair, gaining weight, everything. And then it was, okay, I need to decide, is it? Or do I go back, study myself, meet the right people, and learn everything, how to reverse my issue, because I don't want to live like this. So that's where, Jake, I got kind of like switched my life from being an engineer to searching for, a school I can go to. I found an Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and it's in New York. I went there for 1 full year. Then I added another year of gut issues specialist. And by the end of that, I totally reversed my autoimmune, totally changed my lifestyle, my food, my way of eating, my beliefs, my mindset, everything. And that's basically what brought me here, because I got no solution. And I'm not saying the solutions were not there, but one of the reasons I'm here today is you really need to know where to look for them, because they're not out there and they're not waiting for you. So if I was luckier, maybe I would have found the right doctor and I wouldn't need to quit my work and change but looking backwards, I'm not regretting anything.
Yeah, it sounds like it worked out exactly how it's supposed to. So you were searching for answers for yourself.
Yeah.
And how to deal with what you had been diagnosed with and really just to help yourself feel good.
Yeah, because I was moody. I was, I didn't really feel motivated to do things. It's really shitty life.
So how did you take that and then grow it into what you have today at fitfoodfeelgood.com? How did that transition into, okay, I found this, now I want to share it? Or how'd you decide to turn that into what you do now for a living?
So I found out that if I want to do it for myself, it's easier if I'm already teaching others, because I can keep repeating and, reminding my own self what I need to do. Because if you give a lecture once a month, it's actually a good, repetition for you to remember, oh, yeah, I need to drink more water. Oh, yeah, I need to, start my morning without coffee because it's too acidic. And that's why I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to make it an occupation. So I know I need to exercise and keep my muscles, because muscles are the organ of longevity. So if I'm already doing it, why not teaching it? And the same with nutrition. If I'm already cooking and I'm already, have to change everything, why not doing cooking classes and cooking demos and keep working on it? And I think that business is really fulfilling, because you keep seeing people that are feeling better, improving, people that didn't leave their house from extra depression. And I know it doesn't have anything to do with my experience of autoimmune, but once you heal them from within, you have the power to heal things that people don't even believe, you can heal with lifestyle and nutrition only.
Right.
Heavy depression, heavy skin issues. People don't leave their house from excess acne and things like that. It's all lifestyle and nutrition, and I wish more people would be aware of that.
Well, let's start with that. As you mentioned, you did an extra year of gut health. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about why gut health is so important, and maybe a little bit about it's a very catchy word, and it's very popular, and it's growing in popularity. Good, right?
Yeah.
But the gut microbiome, right? Why is the gut microbiome and gut health so important?
So it has many reasons. I don't know if people are aware of the gut microbiome. What are they, right? There's our little bugs that living inside us, and we are 99% bugs. I don't know if people know that. And it's not insulting. We are.
Right.
And those bugs, they do more than we think. They munch on the food. They munch at what's left for our food. They are the ones that decide if you will lose weight, gain weight, if you're going to get sick or not sick, because it's 70% of your immune system is in your gut, and it's in the hands of those bugs. They're the one that decide if you're going to have acid reflux. How are you going to break your hormones? Are you going to be perimenopause and miserable, or are you going to be, healthy? Am I going to eat that and get bloated? It depends on my microbiome. They influence everything. Everything. There is nothing they don't really have anything to do with. Are you constipated? Yeah, your microbiome are not balanced. Oh, are you having like a fungus on your skin, like a wart or something? You're imbalanced with your microbiome. Microbiome has everything to do with everything. So once I studied that all disease begins in the gut, I actually realized, when people have arthritis, it's not really joint pain disease. It starts with inflammation in your gut. Right? Same with Alzheimer, dementia. It's inflammation in the brain. But where did it start? In your gut.
Interesting. And let's go into more of that. Like, what are some common signs that your gut microbiome might be out of balance or your gut health might be poor?
Well, if you're getting sick very often, let's say it's cold season and you've just been sick and you're again sick and then another week and then, and now it's a sinus infection, or, things like that, or you're it's the season of allergies and you're having like severe allergies. These are all signs of your immune system. It's either overworking, underworking, but it's only the microbiome. Probably you're not having enough of the good kinds, or maybe you have very little because your variety of foods is very little, and if you're having funguses, skin things, it's your microbiome, imbalanced. If you're having stomach ache, issues digestion, it's an issue with your microbiome. Maybe not enough, maybe too much from the wrong kind.
So what would be some whole foods or some different, like, obviously you like to heal with whole foods, right?
Only, yeah.
In the day and age we live in, you go to the doctor, you get a pill prescribed, and that's just treating symptoms, or synthetic supplements, which sometimes your body absorbs, sometimes they don't. Most of the times they don't.
They don't. It flushes away.
Right. And so what are some things that, if you want to focus on healing the gut, what are some things or some whole foods? What's good for the stomach?
So like drinking bone broth, as you know. Ta-da. Yep. Just like this.
So like this, some bone broth.
And homemade is always better than store-bought, right?
Yeah, I brought some for you from
I love it.
kchealthclub.com.
Thank you.
My new company.
I love it. And it's like the best, the number one. It's really, and it's easy. You can either drink it like this. Mm-hmm. Some people like to warm it and make it a soup. And some people, if they're really like, I'm not doing bone broth, there are actually powders.
Sure.
That are bone broth.
Yeah.
Right? And you can add it to a smoothie or you can add it to a soup. So there is no way you won't be able to get it, even if you're very picky. Another thing I like is fermented foods. Mm-hmm. And, grandmother used to ferment everything. Nowadays, you can go to Whole Foods or Sprouts. And just if you want fermented food, always make sure it says with live culturals. Because, not every pickle is a wild fermented food, right? If they killed it, it's dead.
Okay.
So it has to say fermented live culturals. Mm-hmm. I found a lot of cabbage, kimchi, sauerkrauts in Whole Foods, the Baby's Company pickles, they're all full of life. Not to mention kombucha, but kombucha really choose the ones with the low sugar because there are kombuchas like with 15 grams sugar. I kid you not. So then you're like, it's an offset, right? You're doing a good thing, but then you're doing a bad thing at the same time. So you're staying in the same place. I'll do more specific. So the fermented foods are like a whole variety of bacteria, but then you cannot really control which am I getting. Because let's say I am depressed, okay? I'm going to need a specific strain of bacteria, and their name is, let's say, B. longum. And I'm saying let's say because I have memory issues. So don't get me on the word here. So let's say I need that specific strain of bacteria, which called B. longum. No one promised me that that's going to be in the pickles. No one promised me that that's going to be in my kimchi. So if I know I have depression, I am going to order a specific probiotic, product that has this strain in it. If I know my gut issue is specifically leaky gut and holes because I've been drinking ibuprofen, 24/7, right?
And it's been eating your stomach.
And it has been eating my stomach. So I know that I need to focus on gluing the holes and coping with leaky gut. It causes all sorts of things. So then I will focus with my probiotics to get a supplement that says L-glutamine. And that will kind of like heal and seal. If I have, stomach ache and inflammation, I'll make sure I get marshmallow root and aloe vera, all those, things. So healing the gut is really like, it's math. Like you need to know, this is the problem, equal, this is what I need.
It's just a big equation.
It's a huge equation. And there are so many other things like your health history, you've just been in the hospital and they gave you so much,
Antibiotic.
Yes. So then I know, okay, I need to also build the immune system, the one that fights like, acidophilus, bifidobacillus on top of, other things. And then there is a strain, I don't know if ever anyone will remember what I'm saying now. But
it's here forever, so they can always
right?
go back and rewind it
exactly.
and write it down.
Like the best strain for healing gut, if you are in probiotics already, is Akkermansia.
Akkermansia. Mm-hmm. Remember that, Akkermansia.
Akkermansia.
Awesome. What would be some common misconceptions about people trying to heal their gut, or some things that are out there that might be just people misnomers that people think would be, oh, I'm healing my stomach, but it's really you're doing the opposite. Like you mentioned, the kombucha with sugar, or some things that really we think are healthy, but they're not really helping us out. They're the antithesis of what we need.
I have a little example that I think I understood your question is, for example, I hear many people that says, but I'm eating only salads and only raw and everything is green but my stomach is still hurt. But then I'm thinking, whoa, but what was your problem? Like if you're lacking enzymes and things like this, you actually cannot break your salads. It's so much fiber and greens that you're like your body goes like, whoa, how am I going to break that? Even though people think like fresh kale is healthy, fresh spinach. I personally cannot break lots of greens raw. So some of the people that think, but I cleaned everything, I stopped eating, my junk, but you're only doing raw salads and you're not there yet. So really, you really need to know what you're doing and how long. Like some people do the elimination diet, and then you eliminate everything forever. But they're not really eliminating what they really need to be eliminating.
Gotcha.
If they just checked that broccoli is like really bad for them.
Right. And so you mean to say like what works for me is not going to work for you, and what works for you is not going to work for Ben.
Exactly. Because he can do raw salads. He has to do soups and bone broth for like a couple weeks until we get him there, right? So this is like misconception, I think, because people think, oh, I eat clean. But clean is what is clean, right? I can be sensitive to arugula.
Right.
And thinking I'm eating so good, so why am I not feeling better? But actually I'm sensitive to arugula and I'm eating it every day.
So are there some kind of tests that you can take to tell what like is going on in your stomach?
Yes, everyone can take a test.
Okay.
You can go to the doctor, and there are so many companies. I am now looking into. It's called Design for Health,
Okay.
if you know that, and they made 3 kits especially for health coaches, which are not MDs. And then one is mapping your gut. It's called like GI map something. And one is your metabolic health, which is, the cholesterol, your blood functioning, everything, inflammation. And then one is literally food sensitivities. There is another company that you can order kits to your house that just check your food sensitivities. But I tell you one thing, you have to send your stool.
Sure.
So some people are like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to get well, it shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, you have to get to that mindset. Like, come on, send
Right.
a sample, and you solve so many issues.
we all do it. So
Yeah,
get over yourself.
And it's easy and it's cheap.
Sure.
Or you can go to a functional doctor and then do, a broad spectrum in like $2,000. So, I mean, I'm just saying out there, it's accessible.
Sure. And so when I go take one of these tests, the information I get back is going to tell me what?
The foods you should avoid.
Okay.
For now.
Right.
Okay. How to do the elimination diet correct. So like they will say a list of foods of 200, I think, or 250. And then it says these foods are your superfoods. So really focus on them almost daily. These foods are like, not every day, maybe once a week. And then they will give you a list of completely avoid those foods. How long? 3 months, 6 months. And then you will be surprised that if you do that together with healing the gut, then when you're done, you can actually eat those foods.
And so if I took a test today and then I changed what was going on, what I'm putting in my stomach and putting in my body and my exercise and what I'm consuming, and then take a test 6 months later,
it will change.
It will change.
And depending what steps you did to heal your gut meantime.
Gotcha.
Right? Because if your issue was holes, and you just eliminated the foods, but you didn't block the holes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really it's a step by step, and Dr. Josh X was very clear with it. It was step number 1. If you want to heal your gut, you remove the foods that caused it. Right? Pills. Give me
processed
M&Ms.
food.
I don't know. Oh,
yeah, that's fine. But processed food and
processed foods,
seed oils.
Exactly. Junk oils. You see, I haven't eaten that junk for so long, I forgot what they are. What is junk food?
Folic acid, all that good stuff.
Thank you. Then step number 2 is replace it with the good stuff. All the recipes I have in my book and all those clean foods, whole, bone broth, soups, whatever. Step number 3 is to actually heal your gut with the colony of the microbiome that you were missing, or maybe you had too much of. So really recolonize your gut bacteria, and then incorporate the new supplements that will do your fill your deficiencies. Because most of our problems, like when your head hurts, it's not a deficiency of ibuprofen.
Right. It's usually you probably need some more water.
Water, magnesium.
Right.
Yeah. Too much sugar, then too much crash. But really finding out your deficiencies, and especially you talking about the immune system, low vitamin D is like a thing.
A big time thing.
A big time thing.
Right.
I don't know how people are not screaming it.
Well, I mean, that's why we saw such a huge uptick when COVID attacked people.
Oh, totally.
I mean, it was a big deal was the lack of vitamin D in that sun. And what are some other good sources, natural sources of vitamin D? Or is there a good vitamin D supplement that you recommend?
So I do it all. I do the salmon, omega-3, sardines, all those that has vitamin D in them. Then if I need to buy like a whole milk for cooking, because, I wish I had a cow, but sometimes you...
Right?
But I don't.
One day.
One day I'll have a cow.
Me too.
And I'll drink whole milk every day. But now the most organic with the only A2 enzyme and whatever, I'll make sure it says added vitamin D, just for fun. And then there's so many good brands of vitamin D, at least 5,000 a day I take. I cannot recommend it to anyone. So I didn't say anything.
Right.
Because it's really individual. Like if you're having two less, you really need more than 5,000.
And we should have said at the beginning, what we are sharing, right, is our own experience, right? There's no medical advice going on here.
Nothing
whatsoever.
It's only for me and you.
Right. These are our experiences, and we're just sharing our experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, I have a raw milk dealer from
You do?
from Sedalia, Missouri.
I'm in.
I'll hook you up.
I'll
get you hooked up with the raw milk.
Oh my God.
It's so good. I mean,
I bet.
it's amazing.
So and it's so gut healing. Speaking of
right, because they don't burn everything out of it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Over in Europe, as you're familiar with, they drink raw milk all the time.
All
everywhere.
the time.
You see
raw milk and goat's milk. And
athletes drinking milk after their soccer games. And
it's like the best healing food.
I'll get you hooked up. Let's talk about some of your experiences, because you see a lot of things. I'm sure you see within your clients. Like, and gut is where you start, right? And because there's so many things that you see, whether it be we've mentioned autoimmune deficiencies. Let's kind of maybe dive into some of the different things that you see, like arthritis, joint pain, and also dive into something that I'm very familiar with, like controlling your blood sugar and diabetes and pre-diabetes, because it is exploding right now. 1 in 3 Americans have pre-diabetes. I believe the number is over 50% of America is dealing with obesity. So it's a giant problem. People go to their doctors, and right now the end thing is to get metformin, or even they have all these other diabetic drugs that they haven't been running tests on, and they just it's a fad, right? They're just and that is masking something that down the road you're going to eventually have to deal with. And so let's get into that. Let's get into the arthritis and joint pain, and then kind of transition into what you see with controlling one's blood sugar.
Okay, so should we start with the arthritis?
Yes, let's start with the joints and arthritis. I'm familiar. Like, that's why I got on bone broth to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Like, because
that's the best thing.
I'm a daily runner. And
okay.
What I was doing is I've had 4 knee surgeries in my past, and I was running about 2 or 3 days in a row, and then my knees would just be aching horribly, and then I would take some Aleve.
Oh yeah.
And it'd go away for a day, and I'd start running again, and then
again.
And then I'd back at it. So I was really cognizant. My father had kidney cancer, and so I just became very aware of what synthetic things I put in my body. They're going to have to be processed out. And so I'm running to be healthy, but yet every 3 or 4 days I'm having to jam a painkiller down my throat
to keep doing that.
Yeah, to keep healthy, I'm killing my kidneys.
Correct.
And it's like, this doesn't make sense. So I heard a podcast. They're talking about how bone broth helps joints. I got on it. I started making. That's how came. Got the recipe finally dialed down.
I can see the gelatin from here.
I mean, it's amazing. It's the best stuff. And by the way, it
is the best stuff.
I just launched a company called KC Health Company, or
oh my God,
KCHealthClub.com, and we're selling bone broth because I started doing this about 7 years ago. And so I got on it, and about 4 weeks after doing this, I was done with painkillers. My knees,
I bet,
felt great
because you healed your gut and your joints.
So let's get into that. So by healing my gut, what did I do? How did I help my joints by healing my gut?
You reduced the inflammation in your body, and you didn't give your body a reason to attack your joints. Okay? So I'll tell you a story how it's done, and then like a little funny story. So people don't realize when you eat, let's say, give me a name of a poisonous food.
McDonald's.
Okay. You eat McDonald's, which is full of chemicals, right? It's not really oil. It's not really meat, right? Right. Are we okay talking about
No, yeah. I mean, okay. We say any fast food.
Let's talk about fast food. So it's full of chemicals and it's full of bad oil. I'm like, uh-oh.
It's my podcast. I can say whatever I want.
Okay, good. So then it goes in, okay?
Okay.
Your body doesn't know how to break it. It doesn't know what it is, right? In its memory, when it comes down to breaking time, all the microbiome are going around and they're going, who's that, right? Like, we don't know what's that. That's a molecule, really big, really red. We don't even know how to break it. So your body goes like, it's an enemy. Let's attack, right? So you start, this is like the definition of inflammation is when you're getting a foreign object or something or bacteria, your body starts attacking it. But you know what's sad? When you keep getting more and more foreigners and more bad bacteria, your body starts attacking like crazy, right? He gets cray-cray and he starts attacking everywhere.
Okay.
So that's why miserable people with arthritis is just inflammation and your body attacking your own joints. It's autoimmune on the joints. Another person, I don't know if it's because the genes or what decides who attack who, but some people from the same food will start attacking their skin and they will get oozing, eczemas, and all those things. It's because it's your body. That's how he attack everywhere, because he's kind of tired of attacking all day, so he starts attacking all directions, right? So that's what happened with arthritis, with psoriasis, and all those lupus, autoimmune. Hypothyroid is the body attacking your thyroid. So if I don't give him foreigners and I don't give him a reason and eating things that he does not recognize, he stops attacking. And this is the funny story now coming. So when I told you I didn't get any answers when I was deteriorating, one of the things I was suffering from, on top of the hair loss and the weight gain, I started a little, here, I don't know if you can see it. I had arthritis in my pinky.
Okay.
So my pinky bone started to go to the side. And I was like, 30? I don't know, 30 something. And then my doctor was like, oh, you start arthritis. It's hurting because it's arthritis. And I was like 35 and I was like, no.
That's a little young to be getting arthritis.
No. And that was another thing to trigger to go and learn about everything. Because the first thing, when I reversed my autoimmune and I felt great again, one of the things that happened is my arthritis stopped. And that's how I'm so confident to tell that you can reverse arthritis, because as someone that started to have joint pain in the hand and the doctor said, oh yeah, it's arthritis in your pinky. And I'm like, no, that there has to be a way. And there is a way, because it stopped. It got smaller and it never bothered me again. So that's my experience of arthritis. Another example I can give you is I had a runner, an athlete. She's from New York. And she contacted me because, again, she couldn't find anyone to help her. And things got worse. She could not even sign up anymore for marathons because she was in total pain all of her body. Then the doctors gave her that. There is a thing they give for arthritis for pains. I just forgot the name. I'm sure you know.
It's just some type of painkiller? No?
It's like for the...
Anti-inflammation?
Something like this for arthritis, specific for arthritis,
okay.
For them to function. But needless to say, it has all kinds of, other side effects and things like that. So I told her, listen, it's autoimmune, it's inflammation. Let's do it, okay? Let's just do it. Commit to me 4 weeks, 2 months, I don't know, just give me your time and let's do it. And after 3 months, she got back, signed up. I mean...
She's running again?
Amazing.
By healing gut?
Just by that, because I told her, it's autoimmune. It's not arthritis. It's autoimmune. It's gut issues. It's inflammation. Let's do that. You'll be great.
And something I find fascinating that, you hear people say, always listen to your gut, right?
All disease begins in your gut.
Right. And so I've found that outside of your brain, the place in your body with the most neurons than any other place is your stomach. So that's why they call it your second brain, because there literally are neurons in your stomach.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they're connected with vagus nerve.
Your vagus, okay.
It's called vagus, right?
Yep.
Vegas, not Vegas gambling.
Right.
But the vagus nerve connect the brain in your head.
In the back of your...
Yep, it's the back from your neck.
Yep.
And then it goes right to your gut, all the way swirling in. And that's the connection between both brains. And there is a very good, easy example I like to give people so they know what we're now talking about. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So when you see a good-looking woman or a guy in the street, you see it with your brain.
Okay.
But you have butterfly in your stomach.
Okay.
That's the connection.
Right.
Like, why would I feel like suddenly like, right? Or if I tell you tomorrow, you have the biggest test in math, you get cramps,
Nervous,
right? You get
Yeah.
cramps, you go to the restroom very often. That's how what you have here will make this move or not move.
So controlling your mind, that controls your stomach.
Yeah. What you have here, if you're positive here.
Well, in another study I had read, so they went across all spectrums of health, whether it be high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, diabetes. They studied all these and like laid them over all these different studies and tried to find what's a common thread. And the only common thread they could find between these, all of them, all these different diseases, is what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Inflammation.
Inflammation
is the only common thread that runs
all of
through
them.
any illness whatsoever.
Totally agree.
So kind of transitioning, that's a great story about the arthritis and the joint pain. Now let's move over to something that is chronically killing people and hurting our, I witnessed it on my own family and inside of me, right? Is type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
My father had it. My grandmother had it. I was diagnosed with it in 2015. And I've told this story before on the podcast, so we don't need to dive too deep into my story.
Okay.
Because you're the you're the expert here. But it took me 16 months. I was shooting myself up after I was diagnosed with diabetes twice a day with about 10 units of insulin. And I was on 1,000 milligrams of metformin. Now, I will say it was beneficial for me to jumpstart my pancreas because I was in such a bad place.
Totally agree.
So I had
You had to.
I had an A1C of 14.3. I was living at about 600 or 700 blood sugars daily.
Wow.
And my doctor was like, I don't know how you're not curled up on the floor.
Correct.
Like, how are you functioning as a human being?
No, you needed SOS help.
Right. And so the way he put it to me is like, your pancreas is dead and we need to put paddles to it. Like, like jumpstart your paddle. And then, he said, I've read in studies that you can put yourself back into prediabetes.
Correct. You can.
And so I did. Not only did I put myself back in prediabetes, I completely reversed it. Now I have an A1C of 5.0. I live at about 100 blood sugars daily. But that's bone broth was a giant part of that.
Of course.
And
inflammation.
And so let's dive into that, because people, when I tell people that story, half of them don't believe me and the other ones are blown away because they're not told you can reverse your diabetes. You can. Correct. You can.
And you're not going to be told depending who you go to.
Right. Because the reality that we live in is this is a big business. It's one of the biggest business. It's
Correct.
a $1 trillion business. And when they get you locked in, they have a customer for life. So most people, they say, well, I guess I'm resolved. And what most people are told, or what I was told and what I was led to believe through my grandma and through my dad, is that the reason I have type 2 diabetes is because it's genetic. It's genetic. And what I've come to understand about epigenetics and about illnesses, really that's about 5% true. I had a 5% chance of getting diabetes because of my genetics.
Correct.
The other 95% has purely to do with my environment and what I'm doing. And the environment that I'm living in and what am I doing in my life.
I agree.
And that's why it looks like it's hereditary, because I grew up in the same environment as my
and you
dad.
ate the same thing. And
my dad was in the same environment as my grandmother. And so that's why
it looks genetic.
Right. And so most people are like, well, I don't, I have heart disease because it's genetic. I have high cholesterol because it's genetic. And really the reality is 5 to 10%. And I think that's being generous, like the 10% side.
Yeah.
Like the reality is that you can control your environment, and when you change your environment, you can control the illnesses that you're living with to eliminate them.
They also say that your genes would load the gun, but your lifestyle will click the trigger.
Pull the trigger, yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm a big believer of that, because if you see my genes, it's kind of like your story. You're like, oh my God, is she able to walk?
Well, I mean,
and I'm like, yeah, I just put them to sleep for now. God forbid. it, knock on
Right. And same with me. I mean, my mother had cancer and she passed away at 56. My dad had cancer, passed away at 59. And so it's like, a lot of people just think, well, I'm going to get cancer. And I've changed my mindset to think I will never get cancer.
And you have the power to prevent it if you want to. So.
Right. And so it's like, and if for some reason I was diagnosed with cancer, I would handle it completely different than my parents did.
I'm totally climbing off the tree. I'm jumping off the cliff.
No, I'm just going to go into a 40-day fast.
Juice cleansing.
Just fast. Because the cancer has to survive on something.
Yeah. We can starve it.
You can there is some studies that are going on. There's a clinic down in Dallas that they're doing they're fast, but they're being, supervised fasts that you go and you live at these places for 40 days and you're only drinking water and they're monitoring
It's autophagy. It's eating the bad proteins in your body.
So, I mean, that would be, and I won't ever have to worry about that because I'll never have it. But let's go back into the, insulin resistance, blood sugar. So somebody comes to you with pre-diabetes.
Okay.
What are some of the things that right away you're going to say, and I don't want to take away your business, so don't give away all your secrets, but what are some small things that people could start to do to either eliminate or add to if they want to control their blood sugar health?
So I'm trying to put it like by the order because normally I'm like throwing everything on them. And then we just, follow up and accountability and we try to fine tune. But like I would start from the basic and teach them how to count the sugar they're having during the day. Just for them to kind of like get like a big idea of how much was I eating daily until now, how much should I? So like 1 teaspoon is 4 grams of sugar, okay? Then just for fun, we kind of go to the pantry and we're looking, see your bar is like 25 grams. Right there, you finished almost all your limit for the day, which is 6 to 9 teaspoons. Needless to say, they're going to have ice cream after dinner. They're going to have so
sugar in their coffee.
Yeah. So I think step number 1 is to make you aware of how bad you're not doing, like how good or better you could be from where you are now.
So just kind of get a basic baseline of what you're doing.
Yes, get a baseline. Go to the pantry. Try to figure out what are they doing that made them get there. Once we make them aware of the amount of sugars they were eating, okay, and make them aware of what they were doing wrong, we start, learning what can we do right? So if it's like the simple thing, I think, is to just replace if you're cooking or doing things at home, replace the bad sugars with the good sugars, which are like monk fruit, allulose. There's so many maple syrups today with zero sugar, or you can do a honey, manuka honey, and things like this. Then I'll go over a completely different order of eating. Like, let's say you want to keep whatever you were eating because you're stubborn. So let's keep it, but instead of opening your dinner with bread, we'll keep it to the end. Or instead of, and we're going to start with the salad, instead of having the salad with the rice, we're going to start with the salad, or things like that will put a different order. While you are eating in a different order, you can already balance your sugar double.
So are you telling me that they give you a basket of bread before your meal on purpose?
To get you to eat more, because then it spikes your sugar. Then halfway through you get a crash and you're like, more, I bet they're counting on you getting more food because they put the bread first.
Sure. I mean, that is completely calculated.
I kid you not. But I wouldn't do that as a restaurant owner, because when you get a crash, you get grumpy. That's all those people that were like, that was too cold. So they're kind of like shooting themselves.
I said medium rare.
Yeah, it's not red enough. So they're actually creating them grumpier too. So, I mean, hungrier and grumpier. So I'm not sure.
Hangry. All right. So those are some things we just wanted to get a baseline.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you see when people come to you? Like what you have this baseline, and then what are some of the things that you really have to work with people to get past?
First of all, they are addicted to their junk because they make it addictive, right? They put things to make you addictive. So I found that the worst obstacle I have is to transition people from the crap they've been eating because it's so addictive to my Mediterranean diet. I mean, to just listen to me. And then, I'll give you an example. I had a demo of a smoothie 2 weeks ago. They were all sitting there so skeptic, like, oh, I'm sure it's going to be so gross because look at all those, L-glutamine and those berries, and oh, she added greens and this and this and that. And when we were, cheers and drink it, they were all on the floor from not believing even how yummy it's going to be. So number one step is to actually get my client to skip the waffle or oatmeal or whatever they're eating every morning and convince them to just give me one-time chance to switch it to a healthy, rich, nutrient-dense smoothie. Just for example. You don't have to have a smoothie, but, it's just an example. So once I get that, I think things are better because that's already give you all the nutrients. Because remember, we mentioned nutrient deficiency is a source of a lot of problems. It will make you hungrier. It will make you look for food. So if people are not eating the right things and they're missing so many nutrients, your body will give messages. Feed me, feed me. So they need to trust me in the process that once we get them with enough things and then the body can balance and not add. I used to be a snacker. Now I don't remember the last time I was snacking.
Well, I mean, I snack, but on good things. Nuts.
Correct. But I used to be a snacker. Like I used to finish my breakfast and then after an hour, what's we having?
Gotcha.
This.
Right.
And now I can go forever until my lunch and then forever until my dinner because I feel like more, first of all, the order I eat gives me balance because I never spike. And if I do, I'm aware of it and it's coming willingly.
Right. It's
like
a choice.
I know I'm going to spike.
Yeah, it's a choice. You're deciding.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
I decided I can spike for that ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for most part, if you're eating in a balanced sugar way, you won't be hangry, you won't be moody, you will never have a big fall, and you're not going to have a big shake, jittery. So you're a very balanced person, and then you don't have to eat every hour.
Do you incorporate any intermittent fasting or maybe talk about some of the things?
Yeah, I do.
You believe in I don't want to say what you believe in. Let me phrase that differently, but like the endocrine system.
Totally.
It's important to get that balanced and that, naturally.
Everything. And I believe that the fasting you were talking about is actually helping reverse insulin resistance. So that's the third step. So you see how we're kind of like, I'm trying to convince them, to teach them what they did wrong, then change the food. But I think that step of intermittent fasting is the most potent tool God ever invented.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a reset for the liver. It's a reset for the insulin system and the whole hormones. It's if you take it a little longer, it's a cancer fasting autophagy. I mean, you can do so many things with intermittent fasting, but I just want everyone to remember that no one should fast the same way as their friend.
Okay.
No one. It's the same as we were talking about the way to eat and which foods. Right? Rice can be my enemy, it can be your healing. Same with fasting. If I tell someone now, do the 6-8 window, I don't know what they're talking about, 16-8, something like this.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a woman in perimenopause. Oh my God. Like I can see more damage than good.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's really depending. Or am I too skinny and lacking muscles and now I'm fasting every day so long, I'm going to disappear.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep, you're in atrophy.
Yes, because, when you're fasting too long, and let's say you don't have a lot of excess, I'm just saying, and after the party you're munching all your proteins and cancer and everything and self-cleanup, and the body is still like really hungry because it's 18, 19 hours and you've been doing it for so long, he will start munching other things.
Right.
Maybe your heart.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a difference. There's a fine balance when you're fasting. I've done a lot of studying on fasting. I do a lot of fasting myself. I've done up to 7 days water-only fasts.
That's a great reset.
But there is a distinct way to test because what you are avoiding and what you're talking about is there is a starvation mode that your body will go into. And that's what you avoid like that, and that's why you have to stay super hydrated.
Correct.
And a lot of people think that they're hungry, and the reality is that you're just dehydrated. And your body, the quickest way to get your body hydrated is through food. And that's why you get so hungry. And so it's like
Correct.
when you're doing these fasts, if you drink 20 ounces of water and you're still hungry 20 or 30 minutes later, well, you probably need to eat. But if you drink that 20 ounces of water and you're not hungry
you're not
for
hungry.
another 2 or 3 hours, then that's your body's properly fasted.
Correct.
And so, I'm a big believer in fasting. That's a big, it's a big way that I got my system back in check through, reversing my diabetes. And it's something that
It's the best thing for insulin resistant reversing. Yeah.
absolutely,
But also, I just want to remind, it's a tool that, like you said, you can use it for so many things. You just have to know how to use it. Just
Right.
like everything else.
and so as we kind of wrap things up here, I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm going to be very respectful of your time because you've taken it out for to sit down. Kind of maybe just broaden the conversation of vitality and lifestyle and maybe some things that outside of just gut health that are vitally important for our endocrine system and also our gut health, which be things like sleep and exercise. And I imagine these are things that you discuss with your clients as well.
Yeah. So the reason I build the business Fit Food Feel Good is to give kind of like a one-stop shop, because I think exercise, especially for older people as we get older, I've never seen anyone that do not lose their balance, and that's the first thing they lose. Muscles. Speaking of fasting, having muscles is the best thing for pre-diabetes because the muscles are eating the sugar, and the more muscles you have, the less sugar spikes you're gonna have. Kid you not. So if you can exercise, even if every after meal you go for a walk or things like, you're already gonna reverse your pre-diabetes. So I combine between the exercises, the muscles, the mindset is so important. I cannot even tell you how your thoughts can kill you.
Yeah,
Literally.
absolutely.
They can cause disease. They can make you in a heavy depression. They can like if you keep it in, you're gonna get cancer in your stomach. You know what I mean? Like your thoughts can really kill you. So I always start with people like, I need a good goal. I need you to change your mindset. I need you to think about the things differently. Not to mention sleep. Sleep is so important, and I don't know how many people have heard that, but I learned it from my doctor in Israel. Every hour of sleep before 12 worth 2. And every hour of sleep after 12 worth half.
Okay. I like that. That's great.
Yeah. So it's really important because if you go to sleep at 10, by 12 a.m., you already slept 4 hours. And that should explain people why they just wake up spontaneously at like 3 or 4 when they go to sleep so early. It's because their body had enough.
It's rested and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
You charge your batteries up.
Yeah.
I also, when you're talking about, just give me a chance. Our tongues will change their taste buds. I mean, one of the quickest growing organ in our body is our tongue. Like when you cut your tongue, it'll heal faster than any other part of your body. Just like if you go without sugar for 30 days, literally go on a sugar fast, and then you eat an apple, that apple is the sweetest, most delicious thing that
you reset everything.
Yeah. So that's something I just kind of wanted. It was in my mind when you were talking about that, and
yeah, we have to reset it, and that's why I love the elimination diets and all of that, because it's a good reset. From people think about it. How many years you wake up, you eat your eggs. You wake up, you eat your eggs. At one point, sometimes you have to stop. You have to do reset. Yep. And then so.
And so I also wanted to bring this up because pickleball for Pilates. Right?
Yeah, that's my new project.
And as we're speaking about, exercise and getting healthy, why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I would love that. So I was working with Jay Marquette, which is a physical therapy. They have their office near our Pilates studio. And I really liked it that he gave me those basic moves together, incorporated with the Pilates moves on the reformer or the mat, and with weights and everything that the body needs to be used to do or stronger with, so you can play pickleball in a better way. Because I don't know if you know, but pickleball have so many injuries.
Yeah.
everyone that I've heard, oh, I started to play pickleball. After 2 months, you hear, oh, yeah, I had my knee surgery, you know.
Tore my Achilles tendon.
I tore my Achilles, or my back is pulled, or this. So we came together, and he literally guided me of, okay, when you're doing the reformer, this and this, probably change the angles, or start with like different direction jumps or things like this to prepare the muscles in the body so they can handle pickleball. And I love it because pickleball, like any other athlete, you know, right? You're not going to train pickleball player like you train football player.
Right.
They need different muscles. They need different, you know, techniques, right?
Different muscle memory.
Different muscle memory, different technique, and different, like, this is more like bursting movements, you know, things like this. So you cannot just
quick twitch,
come from your sofa and be a pickleball player, you know, and decide you're going to be in a league without straining anything when you're never really strengthened your core for balance, you know, didn't work on your flexibility and muscles are so tight and stiff, reach back when your chest is so close. So that's kind of like a good base to make sure people will stop getting injured in pickleball, because I don't know, whoever played pickleball and did not get injured, I want them to message me.
And they can find out more about that on fitfoodfeelgood.com and marquettept.com.
So, I mean, if they ever get injured, he's their man.
Okay. Awesome.
And before they get injured, I am their man.
pre and post, yes. To avoid it, you and if it happens.
I'm voting, and if it happens, he's right there for you guys.
Awesome. And I want to throw out a couple things. Like I mentioned, fitfoodfeelgood.com. You'll find out more about Adi and all of what she offers, the plans and programs, and you can get a consultation there. And also you can find her on Instagram, Adi Shamir, and
awesome.
and so also she's the author of Trim and Thrive, an interactive Mediterranean approach to weight loss and balanced blood sugar, and she's a Pilates instructor as well.
Yeah.
So can people sign up to take classes with you, or are you already pretty booked?
I'm pretty booked,
okay.
But you can always message and start in a couple months, because I do have people that travel and people that have like summer houses. One day I will have one.
Awesome. Well, we got to cover so much here, and I've taken up your hour, so I just want to thank you so much for coming in today. And
thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We'll have to do it more and get a little deeper into some of the weeds, and this was just kind of a nice gloss over, but we can get more technical next time.
I loved it.
So thanks so much. Namaste. And how I end every episode, I say, when you change your thinking, you change your life. Good night now.
Thank you.